broadcasters while they worked accounted for about 30 cases out of an approximate 300 incidents of sexism on the streets, reported to FIFA by the Fair Network. Jesus Christ, Europe. It's okay to show hot chicks on television, and on YouTube for that matter. I mean, I put them in my videos all the time, and the people love it. And now that I think of it, there are some SJW retards who do call me sexist for it too, but that's just special snowflake nonsense. It's usually some ugly girl who's jelly of the hotter ones getting attention, let's be honest. And the only reason FIFA is trying to show less hotties is because they've gone full PC, full social justice warrior, much like how the whole continent of Europe has become cucked. In the end, you're gonna like the results of that England-Croatia match I mentioned earlier. As the fans who watched yesterday already know, England has lost to Croatia in overtime, and I have to say, this puts a pretty big smile on my face. This is obviously the Trump curse striking England, who also had these big elaborate plans to protest Trump this week, at the same time as the World Cup, like what we went over in my last video. And now, England loses and gets booted from the World Cup at the same time as the protests? Fucking priceless. Man, I love this. This is London getting its comeuppance for crossing us, and for crossing Trump. We've already seen this happen with a number of others, and even some athletes too, like when Olympic skier Lindsey Vonn trash-talked Trump earlier this year. Then she promptly lost her races shortly after that, and even went into retirement, poor thing. And now, well, it looks like England is facing the same Trump curse. This also could be payback for the Brits selling out their country's heritage too. Remember when I showed you that pic of their team that had a questionable amount of black and browns in it, especially for England? Well, that definitely didn't represent England of the past, but maybe that's what they've become today. We already saw they have a brown mayor in London who hates America, of course, and they're letting in more and more migrants every day. So this is actually the fate Britain has chosen for itself. But I don't think they're gonna like the eventual outcome. The white guilt-ridden British people of the past are getting replaced, and much like their football team today, England is going to lose again, over and over again, because of all this. What do you guys think about the world of the Trump curse? Comment your thoughts on everything below, and thanks for watching No Bullshit. See y'all next time. Hey guys, before we start, I want to quickly remind about this amazing deal coming from our loyal sponsors at Virtual Shield. They're the best, and they have a summer special going on right now, where you can get up to 3 years of online security for an awesome price. That works out to only about $3 per month. So, if you're looking for a good, quick, easy-to-use VPN service you can trust, check out Virtual Shield today. Link in the description. Hello and welcome back to No Bullshit. Today we're talking about jolly old London and the growing anti-American sentiment that's coming out of there, supposedly. Frankly, I think we're just seeing some of the loudest and most obnoxious ones currently. From what I hear, there's also a lot of Londoners and other people in the UK who still support the United States and America very much. Like they always have. I mean, the US and Great Britain have been close allies for generations now. So what is it that's been going on lately that has London in a tizzy about Trump and America? Well, for starters, our president has a visit to London on his schedule coming up, along with other stops he's making in Europe for some NATO business. And well, this pit stop at London has prompted some of the worst out-of-control leftists there to start some problems. You probably heard some of the stories already going around the news cycle, most famously the ones about the Trump balloon, this inflatable blimp thing that's been shown everywhere in the pictures. Called the baby Trump blimp, it's meant to mock the president, I guess, but I just see it as kind of funny. It's a funny, cartoonish caricature. No big deal to me. And I also don't see why this is such a big hysteria in the news lately. I guess they're trying to promote the Trump hate out there, implying the entire world is sick of him, but I just don't see it. In actuality, I see this as a sign of how shitty and regressive leftist Britain has become. I mean, you don't see Americans throwing fits and protesting when foreign leaders come to visit us. And should we really be surprised something like this is coming out of Londonistan, which is getting taken over more and more by the migrants every day? Hell, the mayor of London is one of them himself, Sadiq Khan, and he also publicly approves of the flight of the Trump baby blimp over the city. This is a weird, sad, and almost bizarro world London is living in right now. And goddamn, I'm almost starting to feel sorry for them. Almost. In fact, this leftist anti-American Mayor Khan and his followers have gotten London so worked up, the US Embassy there doesn't think it's safe for Americans anymore. Let's take a look at an article from the UK's The Guardian. It's called U.S. Embassy warns Americans in London to keep low profile during Trump visit. Check this out. Americans in the UK have been warned to keep a low profile during this week's visit of their president, Donald Trump, as the U.S. Embassy in London says demonstrations against the event could turn violent. On Tuesday, officials said the demonstrations would probably be focused on the center of the UK capital, despite the fact that Trump is only spending a short time there, but added others will also be planned over the 3 days from Wednesday. Be aware of your surroundings and exercise caution if unexpectedly in the vicinity of large gatherings that may become violent, the U.S. Embassy warned. Well, I have to say, London, all you're doing is making yourselves look bad here. This is no way to act and treat your foreign allies' visiting leader. But this is also kind of good for us for a few reasons too. This is showing how big and influential the United States is, especially with Trump at the helm. Most Americans couldn't even tell you who the leader of Britain is. Yet, conversely, London and the UK are so obsessed with America and Trump, they're making these big elaborate plans for us, for what sounds like a very short, simple visit with little actual political ramifications. These protesters act like Trump is Kim Jong-un or something, like he's some kind of war criminal with an anti-British agenda. Trump's not. He's a strong leader. Mainstream media has been feeding them lies from day one. And also,
Puta. Ay, madre, es estúpido. Bueno. Por ejemplo, la mera.
Ironically enough, the more these people protest and make a big scene about Trump, the more they actually feed into his base and his power. This is the kind of bullshit that actually has the opposite effect the haters intent. Instead of making a strong, coherent stance that might persuade people away from Trump's side, the radical leftists are just whining and crying like big babies, like out-of-control idiots, and this behavior only pushes more people to our side, and it strengthens our pro-Trump, pro-America base. I'm more dedicated and pro-United States now than ever, and I think you guys should be too. We are killing it domestically and internationally, and America is still the envy of the world, clearly, and we're only getting bigger and better from here. The warning comes after it emerged that the UK police mobilization for Trump's visit would be the largest since the 2011 English riots. Ouch, they spelled mobilization wrong there. It's supposed to be spelled with a Z, not an S. And before you go and comment, that's the British spelling, I don't give a shit. This is America. Don't catch me slipping up. This is America. Officers will be moved around the country to protect the US president, with those in regions Trump's not visiting, giving assistance to the services in those he is. Its scale is such that police chiefs have expressed concerns they will not have enough resources for their usual policing duties. With the hot weather, if anything kicks off, we are struggling. They cut the officers in the urban areas' biggest forces, and now they need that money. Firearms officers, armed counterterrorism units, public order officers, and dog handlers are all part of the deployment. In their warning on Tuesday, the embassy told American citizens to expect the largest demonstration in central London on Friday, 13 July, when organizers hope tens of thousands of people will be on the streets. A Trump baby balloon is also due to fly over central London that morning. Well, now I'm excited to see if they actually get these tens of thousands of people to come out for this? For nothing, basically. I mean, what are they protesting anyway? Britain is protesting Trump because they hate some other country's president? Damn, if those people don't have anything better to do than this, then I would say London is really a worse shithole than I thought. Maybe instead of protesting our president's very short visit, I would recommend the Brits go after some of the real people making problems for them, like their big brother leftist government, or the Muslim invaders. Does anyone else find it funny no one's talking about London's real issues here? This all smells like a big media distraction to me. That's why the mayor is supporting this too. The media and the government want the British people focused on Trump. That way they can continue to get away with destroying Great Britain for a little while longer. With that said, in a way, now I do see the threat President Trump poses to Great Britain. Trump is the kind of strong, conservative, nationalist leader Britain needs right now. They need someone to loosen the government's strangleholds on free speech and the rights to privacy and bearing arms. London could use some more defensive, border-protecting policies like what Trump's been laying out in America too. That's the real threat here. Trump isn't a dangerous world war-starting threat like the press is pushing. That's just their cover story. The British press is in the pocket of the leftists, who currently control British government for the most part. And really, Trump isn't a threat to the British people. He's a threat to their terrible government and the media, who sides with them. Think about all the times Trump has called out the American media, which of course has been justified and has been starting to help get things better. And well, the mainstream media are a bunch of lying left-wing crooks in America, and it looks like they are in Britain too. Next, let's look at a video with more information about the protests and the Trump baby balloon. This one comes from MSNBC, and it features an interview with one of the organizers. Check this out.
Welcome back, everybody. When President Trump wakes up in London on Friday, he can look up to the sky and see this. A 20-foot high helium-filled blimp that British protesters named Trump Baby.
I'm trying to figure out why this ditzy reporter will always try and over-accent her words with this Valley Girl inflection.
Trump is scheduled to meet with Queen Elizabeth and Prime Minister Theresa May outside of the city. Additional protests are scheduled throughout the president's time there.
Wait, both of Britain's leaders are women? Queen Elizabeth and Prime Minister Theresa May, huh? Now I can see why they're having so many problems over there.
Talk to me about why you want to fly Trump Baby.
Well, look, Donald Trump is the world's biggest bully. We know that from his toxic politics, from his racism, from his sexism, from his xenophobia. But bullies don't like being told that they're wrong.
Wow, wait, slow down, dude. I need to process all these baseless insults one at a time. So Trump's a bully, he's toxic, he's a sexist, a racist, and a xenophobe. Damn, this guy really came out of the gate running on this interview. But I don't think stacking together as many left-wing buzzwords as you can think of really makes a good case here, my dude. It's like throwing shit on the wall until something sticks. Except nothing sticks here. Trump has done nothing racist or sexist. And he's not a bully or a xenophobe either. This is just bullshit left-wing identity politics at its worst. Right out the gate, this guy...
Bueno, tampoco podemos negarlo, pero...
is signaling to women and signaling to blacks and browns and minorities too. That's all the liberals have at this point. They pretend to be feminist and pro-LGBT and supporting of minorities, but really, they're just using them to get attention, votes, and money and sympathy and shit like that. This guy doesn't give a shit about his country and his people. If he did, he would be protesting the migrant mayor of...
We are going to help minorities. We are going to help. Our
London, who's turning the country into a Sharia law-abiding Muslim state. Those are the things Great Britain should be worried about, not President Trump.
The only real way you can get through to bullies is to humiliate them. And we know that Donald Trump has some of the thinnest skin in the game. His ego is incredibly fragile. And so Trump Baby to us seemed like the perfect way to really get him when he comes to the UK.
No, we don't know that, actually. I know liberals like to pretend Trump is a big baby with thin skin and an ego, but I just don't see it. He doesn't really act that way, at least. Except maybe the ego part. We all have egos, though, let's be real. And I don't really get this assumption they're making here about the other stuff. Is it because Trump...
Bueno, todos, pero pues algunos como el de Trump, ¿ah? Puto, yo no estoy de acuerdo con eso, pero bueno. Estoy de acuerdo con otras cosas.
Responds to haters sometimes. Maybe that's why they think he's thin-skinned. But I think a lot of people think his comebacks are justified and spot on, too. And you really can't be thin-skinned and be this high up in business or politics either. Trump is clearly not thin-skinned at all. He just talks shit back to people sometimes. And if he didn't do that, the media would say he's a pushover who just takes it like a little bitch. I mean, you really can't win with haters like this.
He really doesn't care. The man has no shame. So moral outrage is not an effective form of protest for Donald Trump. What he hates is when people take the piss out of him. And, he's got a really fragile ego. I would say that's the only sort of real leverage that we have over this man.
I agree, in a way. Trump is not controlled by the typical moral outrage nonsense in the left-wing mainstream media. And in a way, this guy is complimenting Trump too. Mainstream media. And in a way, this guy is complimenting Trump too, which I agree with. Trump is strong and hard to get to. He's an expert businessman and deal maker. But I really don't agree with this whining man baby. And maybe I can see where they get that from, especially with all the spin the media puts on him, but in actuality, that's not the case at all. Trump is the opposite of fragile. He's strong and bold and kicking ass right now.
So there are people out there that would say, this is just stooping to his level. Why stoop to his level?
Yeah, there are lots of people saying that in this country, many of them supporters of Trump. Country on earth, and he uses that position to bully people.
When? Can I get one example of when Trump was bullying someone? I really don't get where this shit is coming from. Sure, Trump is critical of...
Uy, sí, vamos a hacerle bullying a estos PC.
People sometimes, especially on Twitter, but it's usually when they attack him or do something really stupid, though. This warrants the criticism. And being critical of liars and Hollywood and liberals and the mainstream media, that's not bullying, my dude. That's being honest and straightforward. Explain this and tell us who Trump's bullying and how, then I'm just going to assume this guy is just talking out of his ass. Anti-bullying people have always been these soft leftist losers, historically. They're the kind of people that are safe spaces or some shit like that, and I'm getting pretty sick of it.
As attacks, rape gangs, stabbings, and these people think playing a blow up Trump blimp.
We are just a bunch of people who disagree very deeply with his politics because it's our friends and our neighbours and our family members who are in the firing line. So for us, this is political satire because political satire is one of the most important ways that we have of actually bringing the powerful down to size. So it's completely different. That what we're doing compared to what he does on a daily basis, you can't compare them.
So basically, this guy is admitting that he thinks it's okay when the left does it. But if Trump claps back at them, it's deemed evil and bullying and sexist and racist too. Why not? But is it really fair? I say no. And I also say this guy needs to get that smug as hell smile off his face. You're being exposed as a big blimp from happening either. It's these people's right to make political satire here and protest too, but let me ask you this. What do you think these Londoners would do if we did some of this political satire of our own? Not of the British rulers, no one really cares about them, but there is a certain religious figure who the new brown migrants in Britain wouldn't appreciate us joking about. Hell, you can't even draw their prophet without fear of getting your head chopped off. Charlie Hebdo was a victim of one of those crimes. They were a political satire publication that was tragically shot up by Muslims for doing just that, drawing political satire pictures of their prophet Muhammad 3 years ago. And I'm sure many of the followers of Islam still wouldn't appreciate something like that now. And almost half of London is Muslim at this point, after all. So this just goes to show how free and accepted America actually is. We're not really that upset that our leader is getting mocked at all. Sure, I bitched about it a bit today, and I do think it's stupid and uncalled for, but I will still stand by Britain's right to do it, even though they do have much worse, real threats out there to worry about. What do you guys think? Is this Trump baby blimp really that big a deal? Do you think tens of thousands of protesters will actually show up later this week? And why do the British care about our leader so much?
Ser. Eh, bueno, mamá era bueno, tampoco era tan malo. Bueno, eso sí es cierto.
Hello and welcome back to No Bullshit. Today we're talking about The Root, an embarrassingly bad and over-the-top biased YouTube channel that usually focuses on hating on white people. Last time we covered them, they were chastising high-profile black celebrity men for dating hot white women. My previous video on the channel was about Donald Glover getting shit for this last month, and it's linked below if you want to catch up. But now, for today, we're taking a look at another video from The Root. Hello and welcome back to No Bullshit. Today we're talking about The Root, an embarrassingly bad and over-the-top biased YouTube channel that usually focuses on hating on white people. Last time we covered them, they were chastising high-profile black celebrity men for dating hot white women. My previous video on the channel was about Donald Glover getting shit for this last month, and it's linked below if you want to catch up. But now, for today, we're taking a look at another video from the root. This time, it's called America, the Land of Baby Prisons. Wow, looks like they're being just as sensational and emotionally manipulative as ever. Let's check this shit out.
Trump administration officials are sending babies as well as small children to what are called tender age shelters.
It's not clear how, when, or if families that are currently separated will in fact be reunited.
When will they be by their parents' side again? Welcome to America, kids. Land of the free.
I'm sensing your sarcasm here, lady, but this is the land of the free. Believe it or not, in America, we have more rights and privileges
That's true.
than anywhere in the world. We've got freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom of religion, and the right to bear arms, too. Even the best countries that are similar to America don't have all that freedom. Not even close. Australia still doesn't even have a First Amendment to protect their free speech, so they get censored and cracked down on all the time. Plus, I hear their internet's shit. And what about England, who has no gun rights whatsoever? You can't even walk out of the house with a butter knife in London, not without getting pulled over by Big Brother over there.
My big brother.
And I even hear they have to get licenses for porn in that country. What the fuck? And don't even get me started on why Canada is a shithole. Those Canucks are still cucking to the Queen of England, for Christ's sake. So don't give me this bullshit about America not being the land of the free. It is, clearly. And the people you're showing in these news reports, they're criminals who are being locked up for breaking the law. And I'm really sorry they brought their kids into this. I really am. But what are we supposed to do with them? It's almost like they're...
My thought, I think that I don't know. The USA needs to take charge of these immigrants because shit, I am so divided on this. On one hand, immigrants like ruin your country. Well, they don't ruin it, but illegal immigrants do because they lack the education, I guess. But they just want a better life. Also, it's not really easy to get a visa. Well, actually, for me, for example, is I have family there, and they went to the USA like what 4 years ago. So yeah, it's a land of immigrants, and I think that Trump is right with globalism. If we can fix our countries, we should the immigrants shouldn't escape from here. And we don't have. On the other hand, maybe I need more education on this, but I think that the immigrants. No, I think that if we want to make our country richer, or at least distribute, or at least people to be better. I mean, so people, we need some help of the USA. If we read some history, Guatemala, my country, had some had the United Fruit Company, and we could argue that all that wealth was stolen from our land. What I think that's the past, and and I shouldn't use that as an excuse for illegal immigrants. What I think that, like, if we gave you our wealth, like, I mean, resources from us, at least you should take immigrants from Guatemala and Nicaragua. Mexico and the others can fuck itself, but well, no. But personally, like, maybe not the government, maybe just the private companies that that have land here. I mean, for example, my country imports more than exports. So, like, we are we are we are uh we are an international trade beach. Like, for example, you are the alphas, and Guatemala is just like the cannot. It's just a no. It's just a. It's like we're a bitch. we are we don't export, and I could argue, and we're not losers, but we are. But we need someone like Trump. We need someone that fucks with globalism. We need someone that promotes national trade. Someone that is like Trump. Maybe without all the xenophobia and sexism from Trump, but the the national, but the America first mentality of Trump is something that I like. And while I think it may sound imperialistic, like, I think every country should think of themselves first. And maybe, and even if the USA has been imperialistic at, at some points, even now, uh, I feel at the end, you got people that defend the defend. At the end, you got people that defended your country, and the solution to this will be every country fuck globalism, and every country focuses more on trading on their country. I mean, so 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 a national economy gets stronger and diversifies. For example, at least we don't rely on selling bananas, because we rely on selling bananas and coffee, and fuck that. we need we need well, cards are hard, but I feel the internet has potential. Could we could try to be better. We could have to if we could try to create um some unexplorable territory, like I don't know, maybe weed? Weed is legal on some states, but not every state. So if we legalize that, we would like, I don't know, we could rise among the world and be and and our immigrants wouldn't will stop uh, stealing resources from the U.S. But the thing is, we need to read a little bit more about this topic because it's kind of complex, and if we go to the root of the problem, we're going to take a while. Like, I am so divided in this topic because we need to understand that um, that the basic that, for example, my country was industrializing on the beginning of the 20th century and end of the 19th century, but the Germans came and the gringos came and they monopolized everything. So they were better. So the national here, we couldn't compete. So, like, it's our duty to protect our country. We should send those immigrants back to their nation. I mean, who is those immigrants? Hola. ¿Y mi hermano? Bueno, pero se tardó casi 1 hora y media.
No, porque él empieza a las 7. ¿Para qué hay tráfico?
Ah, ya.
Suggesting anyone with kids should get away with breaking the law at this point. And that's absolutely absurd. Now, I know the Democrats love exploiting kids and that this whole video and the child separation narrative is all about that after all, but just because they want to use kids doesn't mean it's okay and it's right. It's wrong, actually, and we all know it. Oh, and that line before this Trump clip, this rude lady falsely claims that the Trump administration started this border policy. It didn't. Trump just signed an executive order to fix it, in fact. And what do his opponents say when he does that? They lie and say, so what? Trump fixed a problem he started. Even though this immigration policy was enacted by President Clinton in the 90s, who was a Democrat, by the way, and so was Obama, and neither of these Democrats faced criticism for enforcing this border policy either, not once during both of their 8-year terms. But now, all of a sudden, for some reason it's Trump's fault 20 years later. Fucking priceless.
By now, your feed has been flooded with disturbing imagery of immigrant children being separated from their parents. And to have your boy Donnie tell it.
This girl is the one from the Time magazine cover, which has already been debunked repeatedly. The father of that kid admitted that it had never been separated from its parents. So, it looks like we're only 1 minute into this root video and we're already being showered with lies and propaganda. This child separation angle must be really hanging by a thread, man. Damn. If the left can't go 30 seconds without lying about it, I think it's got no legs left on it.
If the Democrats would sit down instead of obstructing, we could have something done very quickly.
Fake news, y'all. This border policy isn't even how Trump says it is.
Ah, claro.
Trump's punk-ass administration
Yeah, sure.
were the ones who decided to criminally prosecute all adults across the
Fuck
border
this girl.
legally.
You say that like it's a bad thing. It's not.
She
It's
says so
actually
much
quite
to-
good. We want to prosecute
Yeah,
people
it's
who
actually
commit
good.
crimes. Otherwise, they will just keep committing them. This is called negative reinforcement. People don't go out and steal cars every day because they know they will get arrested, fined, and in prison for it. Now, I know the Democrats are the anti-law and order party, but come on, people. Why would we not prosecute the criminals? That's what I want to know. This root girl even said herself they're crossing the border illegally, and that means they will have to pay the price for committing that crime.
Back in April, good old Jeff Sessions announced a zero tolerance policy on illegal immigration.
Why is crossing borders? illegal. Yeah, that's true. Fuck Bush. Fuck Bush. I hated Bush.
Specifically at the border. Then the following month, old Mexican food loving and Mexican people hating Kirsten Nielsen's Department of Homeland Security made sure to refer all undocumented immigrants who cross the U.S. border to the Justice Department to face criminal prosecution.
Why are you slowing down and saying this dramatic? And why is your camera so out of focus? Regardless of the blurriness, something here is still clear. The Root is not a fan of laws being enforced. And our government making promises to do their jobs isn't something they like to hear either. It's weird and unexplained, but this is the stance the Root is taking. And I really wish they would give us some sort of reason why they want more illegal immigrants. I'm genuinely curious what their justifications would be. I'm sure it would be some sort of we're doing the right thing, virtue signaling bullshit though. And even those justifications are lies too, because we all know the real reason left-wingers want unlimited immigration is so they can get more votes in the soon-coming 2018 midterm elections.
And when you're in federal jail, awaiting trial, your child can't be there with you, which is
Secretary Nielsen don't have a right to eat tacos for some reason. I guess because these illegals are crossing the Mexican border and they make tacos.
It's cultural appropriation, bitch. How can you? How can you understand that? Fuck you.
So, I guess? I don't know. Your guess on this is as good as mine.
Here's where it gets even more up and sprinkled with extra Trump on top. Orangina may no longer be separating families at the border, but he's still detaining them, including the children.
So baby prisons?
First of all, I don't know what the fuck she just said here. I think she's calling Trump Orange Arena or something. It's hard to understand, and it's definitely not funny like any of their other jokes. And as for this baby prisons comment, I mean, come on. What the fuck are you talking about, lady? This is like the lowest of low for these people to stoop to, too. First, it wasn't enough to lie and say the kids are being kept in concentration camp-like facilities, like we heard on the news before.
Okay.
This is like the lowest of low for these people to stoop to, too. First, it wasn't enough to lie and say the kids are being kept in concentration camp-like facilities, like we heard on the news before. Other left-wingers have tried to make this claim, but they were quickly exposed as lying. The kids' facilities actually look like summer camps. Like Laura Ingraham said, we got pics of these kids playing fucking video games there right now. And now we got the Root raising the stakes on that already false premise as well. First, they lower the kids' age even further. They're now babies, even though many of these kids are older and some are even teens or fully grown, but that's besides the point. Facts don't matter here. Not when the left is trying to exploit children for emotional manipulation. So that's why they're trying to make them younger and younger, so their claim can get better and better, I guess. And now they're also upgrading the facilities to prisons for even more added dramatic effect. Of course, these are all bullshit lies and propaganda tactics, as we've already gone over repeatedly. But even so, let's say that criminals have kids, they should not go to jail or get arrested? So what then? We just start letting in any person who can walk into our country with a kid? I guess that's what they're saying, but I don't know if these idiots haven't thought this far ahead, but this would be a disaster too for dozens of reasons. First of all, we'd get more unskilled, uneducated immigrants with kids, and that's only going to further drain our country.
Well, those kids are going to grow educated, and the immigrants are going to work some lower, how can I say it, low paid work, like I don't know, working at Walmart. Then who wants to work at Walmart? Well, yeah, and I should shut up about that. They could still normal work, but there are some jobs that are so cheap that I think it's not viable to for enterprises to pay. So, but illegal immigrants are cheap labor, so it makes sense for these companies. And I wish they had a legal visa, and but you gotta start at some point, and and if our country failed to provide to these immigrants, at least these enterprises are trying to give them jobs. So like we should blame the the countries for not helping them. And at least even if they pay them with cheap labor, at least they are giving them a try. So yeah, but I think he's wrong at thinking immigrants aren't going to help because because the kids grow up and they go to school and they are going to be a skilled labor, and they are going to help the America. Well, they are going to help the USA to become better, and the uneducated uh, cheap labor is going to do cheaper. Is going to work at uh, at jobs that companies uh, can't uh, can't hire normal citizens because it's too high for enterprises to. I mean, the cost benefit isn't good for the companies. Um, I think we could just simply fix this with water, shelter, and food be provided by the state. Um, and well, let's just keep watching. I just simply think that immigrants could help uh, the the welfare of a country and the material state of a country. Or the production. Yeah, they help the production. They may not help. Well, I guess with machines, unskilled labor is unnecessary, but at the end, automation should come after we create a welfare state. Like first, we should care about the people getting jobs, because replacing people with machines and leaving that the employee just on the street isn't. It's going to start aware in the future. It's going to be hard. I guess this is going to be like I feel a coming war is going to happen, because people are because I think if machines can help with the production, I feel machines shouldn't be controlled by enterprises but by the people. Because firing someone and replacing that person with a machine is just fuck up. At least give that person some money for him losing that job. Why you gotta be so evil to do that? At least that person should be able to eat, and then he's going to do other things. But fuck relying on money and the goodwill of your boss.
In its resources. That means it
Well,
will get shittier here for all.
I guess I got out of the topic, but um, in simple capitalistic terms, cheap labor helps you. Taking morals away, cheap labor helps you. So I don't see why he says these immigrants can't help you.
All of us, all in an effort to help boring criminals because they have kids. Plus, I don't get this whole thing where we pity people more because they have kids, but let's move past that part. Next, there's going to be more problems at the border. Every Mexican and their mother is going to start crossing with kids because they're going to find out they're not going to get arrested if they have them. And not all the people crossing with kids are going to be peaceful, happy families either. If we enact this proposed policy, bad people are going to start crossing with kids that might not even be their own. Sure, they might try and make their own, and they might start raping and impregnating women to help get them in. Or, you know what? They might just start stealing other people's kids. Who knows? But I do know one thing. If all it takes is kids to get across the border and not get arrested, that's going to make things very dicey.
Okay,
For the kids in Mexico.
shit.
With this policy, all the children south of the border are going to be highly endangered. Once all the criminals know that, they can just grab some random kid and cross the border freely with them. So, in conclusion, on this point, the root doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about, and what they're suggesting could actually endanger more kids in the long run, which is exactly the opposite of this pro-kids, anti-child separation point they're trying to make.
America has always lacked humanity in its treatment of non-white people. Throughout slavery, children were ripped from their parents' arms to be sold to other slave masters, constantly and simultaneously breaking up the black family structure and spirit. In the 1890s, authorities made Native American families send their children to Indian boarding schools, where they were forced to shed their own culture, and
That's some nice looking black and white photography you got there. But I don't know if events that happened over 100 years ago are very relevant to this issue. We're
forced to seriously breaking always lacked humanity in its treatment of non-white people. Throughout slavery, children were ripped from their parents' arms to be sold to other slave masters, constantly and simultaneously breaking up the black family structure and spirit.
The black family structure. Sorry, girl, that happened 200 years ago. Your grandma nightmares aren't going to affect you. Maybe we can talk about the stats that that single black mothers are raising their kids without a father figure, and basically that is breaking up the family structure of these guys, and I feel there is a problem with when that happens. I feel they need to fix that so we can finally see these ghettos be better. If someone is watching.
In the 1890s, authorities made Native American families send their children to Indian boarding schools, where they were forced to shed their own culture and assimilate.
That's some nice looking.
What the fuck? Well, now Native Americans. Well, if someone loses their culture, because because someone stole you from your parents, well, that's fucked up. But I mean, let's say I got stolen from my real parents. I will be salty that maybe I got stolen, and probably I will teach my children the culture from my parents or something like that. But if we are real, and if I was raised a little bit decent, my new culture isn't going to I mean the previous culture is going to disappear, and the new one is going to be it's going to replace the last one. Maybe I could try to learn from my real parents, but it wouldn't be the same thing. So if we talk about so in the modernity, if this happened to you like 3-4 generations ago, well, sorry, it's not your culture. the new USA white culture is the culture is the one that it's going to be your culture. And if you pretend you are, I am a Native American, and even if you have the Native American, and even if you have the color to prove it, that sounds so racist. I don't know, but yeah, it's not your culture. Your culture.
Black and white photography you got there. But I don't know if events that happened over 100 years ago are...
The point is, she's wrong. She has ligma, and it's something that happened like 4 generations ago or 5. Who cares at this point?
Very relevant to this issue. We're talking about mostly Mexican and South American immigrants crossing our border illegally in 2018, current year. And like clockwork, within 2 minutes, this root lady is bringing up black slaves and brown Native Americans from over 120 years ago. Damn, lady, get a grip.
Also, they were the natives.
I know slavery is still a sore topic for you and all, and I can see you're still coming to grips with that, but bringing slavery up every chance you get isn't really helping. Maybe these anti-white, pro-criminal videos she's making is her way of coping with this. And I hear you. You know, if my ancestors had been enslaved and embarrassed a few generations ago, I might feel a little salty about it too. Oh, wait a second. I'm part Irish, and guess what? I almost forgot. Like the impoverished people of many other...
Oh, he's part Irish. Yeah, I love the, well, I don't know an Irish, but I love their history. It's just like fuck England. They destroyed Ireland. For me, England was the worst empire in the history, and Ireland deserved better, but they got my respect for fighting so long against the tyranny.
Nationalities, many Irish people emigrated from Ireland to the Americas in the 17th and 18th centuries as indentured servants, and a smaller number were forcibly banished into indentured servitude during the period of the English Civil Wars as well. Indentured servants often lived and worked under harsh conditions and were sometimes treated cruelly, so there is that. But the difference here is this. I almost forgot this was in my Irish history, in my ancestry, but this root lady has got slavery right on the top of her mind all the time, every day, and that's why she unironically brought it up here in today's story. People like this are fragile, sad, and embarrassing little losers.
Yeah, that's true. If you got that mindset, you feel like a loser the entire time, and you feel like the victim, and you feel like, oh yeah, my grandfather was a loser, or was a slave, or so my father was, and I am too. But that's not true. You are better.
Who just can't get...
And I could play the same victim card. I am from Guatemala, so our material conditions. I hate that word. Our economic conditions could be better. But am I complaining? No, because fuck playing the victim card. You just need to be better and don't complain a lot. and if I was like that, I was kind of like that, and but I learned that I wouldn't blame every USA, every American for for the wrongs of the past, something like that. It's something I needed to learn, and it was good. So let's move on. And I think my country is going to have a great future. We just need to be more nationalistic, like Trump is. That's a one good thing that Trump has. He cares about his country, and we should care about our country, and we should fuck every person that is against that. So yeah, fuck globalism, and I hate Hillary Clinton's politics. So yeah, fuck the SJWs and fuck these government regulations.
over something they were not a part of, and no one they know was either. And they also can't resist bringing slavery up every chance they can get to get those precious, oh so sweet victim points. The fact of the matter is this: if your point needs black and white photography to be presented, it's probably not that relevant to what's going on today. Just saying.
And now here America is again indulging in racist habits, ripping children of undocumented immigrants from their parents' arms.
Did you guys see that? You may have missed it, but this video just time traveled from 1904 to 2018.
Yeah.
And then, ipso facto, bad shit happened in the past, so all white people are racist now and forever. That's the root argument
I
here,
am so
and
evil.
frankly, it's a little sad, juvenile, and kind of pathetic. I mean, first of all, not all of America had slaves, nor did very many take part in the oppression of the natives. So to bring up this small percentage of the country from over 100 years ago, well, it doesn't really reflect much upon slavery way.
Oh, yeah.
The root implies.
That's what I hate about SJWs. They make you feel guilty about your own existence. Fuck that. if one thing I learned after watching Alam, and for one moment he tried to make me feel guilty about just like he wanted me to say it. Oh yeah, the suburbs was systematic racism, and the pedagogue there said say that oh yeah we are going to but I didn't decide to be born as white. Yeah, no one decides their race. That line was so fucking stupid. Who cares? At the end of the day, in the modern history, everyone has equal chance, an equal foot. Like redlining ended 80, 50 year, 60 years ago, and then, well, redlining doesn't exist in my country, so it's a different total history. It's so different being learning in the USA history from another country perspective, because here we don't have that bullshit. Yes, we have. Here we may say the descendants of Spain and USA are the rich people here, but I don't think it's their fault. It's not because they are white. It's simply because it's just a coincidence, and even if it was, it doesn't mean anything. But they have like at the end of the day, your skin doesn't matter. It's only your individual skill that you can acquire.
They can go into the past of our country and race in order to shame us in the present, then why can't we do the same thing? I mean, every family and country and race has some dirt in its past, of course,
yeah.
But since the root wants to play this game and attack white people, let's go.
Fuck that. In fact, I feel it's racist that the universities, they have need a lower need less points for blacks than whites or Asians. That's just fucking stupid. Like, what happens if that's like saying, oh yeah, if a black girl is with a white with a white boy, and they have they get a Latino, someone not as black but not as white. Does that mean he has the middle? He has an IQ be in between the white and the black? No, that's just stupid. That's stupid and it's racist. And yeah, public universities, they need higher education. They everyone should be played by the same conditions. And I agree that the universities should give college, free college to ghettos, but not only the ghettos. Everyone should get a free education, and the government should help with that. And stop talking about useless shit like abortion or the or the or the or did you just misgender me?
Go ahead and give them a taste of their own medicine. For
or the
starters,
mis or the LG or the trans stupid talk that did you just misgender me? That stupid talk needs to end.
blacks enslaved people too. A lot, actually. There were probably just as many.
Yeah, black slave. You know what happened. Xenophobia happens everywhere. For example, the Nicaragua's people uh, have uh, have escaped to Costa Rica, and Costa Rica has like they have beat up Nicaragua's immigrants. So like it's not only the USA's fault. It's everyone is suffers. Every country has at least some form of racism, but I think it doesn't depend on color. It's more like nationality and your accent. I don't know, but I don't think it's. Yes, I don't. Yeah, there is racism, but not in the way these SJWs talk. Like, like, yeah, just for example, if they only see a white team of, for example, if a team has no blacks, then they are going to say, "Oh, it's so racist." Maybe it's just a coincidence that it happened like that. I'm sure the next year a black will go in the team. The same case could be said about why African teams only have blacks. Like it's not racism. It's just a coincidence. It happens. It's you don't need to see. You don't need to invent facts when or more. It's more like you're racist if you want to see these coincidences as some form of racism or some form of oppression or some form of oppression at the end. If you're like that, fuck you because you are stupid. sorry sorry, subscribe.
Black slaveholders as white ones across the world. And that's not even getting to the fact
Well,
that it was
I
their
got to tell you, it's kind of disgusting that the U.S. That did you know that the slave owners are still some slave owners are still no some owners families are still rich today. But I guess we are not going to kill them. I feel they should give at least give their land to the to the previous blacks. I don't know. Yeah, it's getting away from my point of view.
fellow Africans who were capturing and enslaving other Africans in order to sell them in the Atlantic
Yeah,
slave
this is
trade.
true too.
So one might argue that African blacks have just as much blood on their hands here as the Americans. And that's not even the worst of what the Africans have had in their past. Black people have been warring and raping and genociding each other on their continent far before
Yeah, that's true. Whites did it too in Europe. Like, did you know it took the USA to calm down Europe after two world wars?
Europeans even got there. And they've been doing prominent much later, too,
after
almost up
World
until
War
the
II.
present. In fact, there's still slavery in Africa, and there were also things like the Rwandan genocide just 24 years ago in 1994. This genocide was when the Hutus carried out a big mass slaughter of the Tutsi tribe. Almost a million dead, murdered, and taken out in cold blood. And that was
Really?
just over 2 decades ago. But back to America for now. Let's talk about the transatlantic slave trade again, because the U.S. was only getting a very small percentage of those slaves. The large majority of African slaves were either sent to Brazil or South America, or assorted islands in the Caribbean like Haiti. But I'm sure you won't hear any left-wingers or SJWs chastising those nations for their parts in the slave trade.
Yeah, yeah. Everyone should take responsibility. But back in the topic, um, at the end of the day, also the only proof I was reading about if there are some systematic oppression on blacks today is it's true. It's technically blacks being more or people of color, Hispanics or blacks being in jail, and the other one was house loans that they don't give house loans to blacks and Hispanics, but I'm sure uh, the fact that I think statistics are the numbers that matter here, and it's not like it's racist. I mean, fact is, um, black black woman have destroyed the family structure of 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 uh, have destroyed the family structure on the ghettos, um, and when you destroy the core part of the of society, it's obvious that everything is going to fall apart. Like if you fuck the family, then your kids, then there is a high probability that your kid isn't going to study, isn't going to have a future. And just for example, I was reading some statistics from the Bureau of the USA, from the Bureau of the USA, and only 69 of the of let's say 69 of every 100 blacks and high school and the school. So like only 69, that's like 2/3 of a population. What happens with the other third? For example, whites are 89 and uh, and